Hello, I'm Thimo Schmitt-Lord. I'm the head of the Bayer Foundations.
Genau.
We do impact investment, so we give money to people who turn money into innovation that matters, that bring progress to society. And I'm pretty happy that I was asked to give a mind opener towards new social vertical. The idea is that we connect like tech trends to social challenges. That's the idea of the social vertical, and I like to give a mind opener to it. I don't know, do you remember actually the landline telephone number of your parents' place, maybe? For the younger ones, landline is when the telephone is plugged in the wall and you can't walk out with it. So when you're out, you're off, right? This has been the landline number of my parents' place, so it's really like so brainwashed in me that I still today use it for all my lockers and some of my credit cards. Probably I shouldn't say that, but anyway, it reminds me how far we progressed in the digital tech world since then. Like also this building, like an icon of the power of human will. I mean, this has changed so much. Who have ever guessed 35 years ago that the coolest tech people come along here in this old, like Eastern Germany radio broadcasting building? Probably most of us, they wouldn't even have let in, right? So, I mean, today everything is super smart and super fast and super mobile and super energized and super connected, but I mean, many of those things are really also say, what's the purpose of it all, right? Do we really need the next level of food delivery services? Who needs the next like fashion exchange platform? Why do we not like think about what's the higher purpose of tech innovation? And on the other hand, and that's probably then my way to bring it together, the social sector, what's going on in the social sector, this still looks like this, like, you know, no dignity, low level of innovation, completely old-fashioned style of giving back mentality of people who probably took too much in the first place. So the idea is, let's change it because it's not good. Whenever you have a gap in society, be it in the social sector, on the health sector, on the tech sector, that's a burden for progress because, you know, the value chains are connected anyhow. And when you stick a gap to a gap, you just end up with a bigger gap. So any gap is really available to be like bridged through innovation. And the idea is it's time to change. So let's partnering like to create social fiction, to create the next level of charity by connecting tech trends to social challenges. So why not think about what we could make smart cooling for solving social challenges? And I'd like to dedicate my remaining 10 minutes to like tech innovators who go that track already, who innovate with a higher mission. And I call it the beauty of impact. When techies think about mobile autonomy, they normally think about self-driving cars. When I think about mobile autonomy, I think about mobilizing people. And it's a very cool project we are actually invested in at the moment. Did you know that in India they have the highest breast cancer mortality rate in the world because mammography is not affordable to almost all women and breast cancer is detected therefore very, very, very late. And no one dies of breast cancer. When you die from breast cancer, you actually die because you diagnose too late and the cancer spread in other organs. So diagnosing breast cancer early is saving life. On the other hand, in India, they have 8 million blind people without any job or perspective, without good future. And this guy brought both together. He's actually developing a training methodology. He trains blind women to become medical tactile examinators in early breast cancer, and with their sensitive touch, they can detect lumps in the breast 9 months earlier than a physician. And we are actually at the moment building an apprenticeship center with him in Mumbai. Biodata mining. When techies think about biodata mining, they often think about, you know, the next level of app who's selecting sophisticated data during your gym sessions, which you probably never would really need. When I think about biodata mining, I think about entitling, for instance, physicians to make decent decisions in like in dilemma situations. Did you know, for instance, that alone in Sri Lanka there are 80,000 snake bites every year, and they are chronically running short on anti-venom, like in many other countries in the world as well, where snakebite is a threat, and that the risk of not getting anti-venom is pretty high, But on the other side, when you don't get the antivenom quickly enough when you need it, it develops like this, necrosis, and then amputation is very likely. So the dilemma of the physician is who really needs the antivenom, and he can't really wait because then maybe it's too late. So this guy I met at the World Health Summit here recently in Berlin last year, he's a snake nerd, he's a physician, and he's a biochemist. And he has developed an enzyme-based detection device with which he can rapidly test the concrete level of poison in the patient's blood to make a decent decision whether or not the antivenom is needed. And when you think about the 3 billion people that live in areas of the world of constant threat of a snake bite, you can imagine how big the market is, but also how big the impact might be that you can make with such an innovation. Smart cooling. When techies think about smart cooling, they often think about cryptic freezing, like freezing down technical devices so that data can run through a little bit faster. When I think about smart cooling, I think about dignity of patients. Did you know that hair loss is the most feared side effect in breast cancer chemotherapy because it's stigmatizing? Everyone can see on the street what your illness is. 3 or 4 women even consider to quit a life-saving therapy because of hair loss. This guy has developed a cooling cap. It's pretty cool because they had a refrigerating company in the family, and then his mother developed breast cancer, and he developed this cooling cap, cooling down the hair follicle so that the cancer drug cannot actually affect the hair follicle and the hair would not fall out. He just received FDA approval for it, so now he has access with this technology to the biggest health market in the world. AI peers, when people think about artificial intelligence, they think about how could actually machinery take over thinking for us, and I would say, but for which purpose, right? But did you know that we have 50 million dementia cases diagnosed today, and the prognosis is that we will reach 130 million in 2050 because of the aging population. So you can imagine that is a big threat because when you have to hospitalize all these people very early, no one could really afford. The system will break down. And while for people who are not affected of dementia, this might look a little funny, like where did Granny left the keys again? When you think about what it means for the family and for the environment where dementia people live, they are completely lost today in a world of post-its, right? Mary Matthews, she's developed an artificial learning app that you get when you are diagnosed with dementia early, and then this thing learns with you, and when the dementia actually grows, the status, then this springs in and gives you peer messages about when you're meeting someone, then you get a message like, where do you know him from, and so on. So this keeps a patient with dementia much more longer independent than in today. Optielectronics. When techies think about optoelectronics, they think about how could we open houses more smartly, or how could we access a technical device more easy. When I think about optoelectronics, I think about malaria. Did you know that we have 240 million malaria cases in the world, and that this is completely treatable, the disease, when it is diagnosed early? The thing is, all these countries where you have malaria, they also have very high HIV infection rates and Ebola risks. So do you really want to have mass needle blood tests screening in countries like South Africa? Probably not. This guy, Brian Gitter, has developed an optomagnetic diagnostic tool because he figured out that after malaria infection, your red blood cells have another optomagnetic resonance. So you put in your finger, and without an invasion, he can detect whether or not you are diagnosed with malaria. And if you like, you can come along to our booth. We have the machine, we had the booth, and you can test if you have malaria. It doesn't hurt at all. Smart printing, that's also very cool. When techies think about smart thinking, they would like to print everything, like food, clothes. When I think about smart printing, I think about entitling people. Did you know that when blind people read internet, they use these braille devices, and they can only read up to 9 words, and then they have to reload. So a box like this, and then they have to reload. Can you imagine what an obstacle it is for blind people to read in the internet? This guy from Technical University, ISTA, has developed, based on a printer technology, a braille drum where the blind people put the finger in the reading device and then it runs in circuit and it can read an entire book through it without any need to reload. Also looks pretty cool when it is actually, this is a prototype. E-mobility, that's my last case. When people think about e-mobility, they think about city bikes, to get a little easier, a little faster somewhere for leisure purposes, right? When I think about e-mobility, I think about really like securing food chains, for instance. Did you know that the soil in West Central Africa is among the richest in the world, and that countries like Kenya should be like the fruity veggie dream heaven, should look like this in Kenya. In fact, it looks very much like this because 45% of all the harvest got lost on the way to the markets because the way to the market often looks just like this. These guys, they have developed a solar-driven e-bike with a cooling box in the back, so the farmers can bring without any loss their harvest to the market, and once they reach the marketplace, they can actually transform it into a selling bench. Fruity Cycle from Uganda. So, a quick tour to some selected pioneers who dedicate their passion and their specific technological knowledge to solve challenges in society in their own environment, which I think is pretty amazing. And I love to invest into those projects on a philanthropic way. So we don't really want to get anything back. We want to see the impact growing. The impact of these pioneers with a higher mission. And we have a couple of those more in our booth area. So if you like to come along, they'd be happy to present their innovation to you, and maybe they stimulate you to also innovate for higher purposes. And if so, then see us, and probably maybe we'd like then to invest into your ideas. So let's make tech good again. Let's create social fiction. And you can meet us later with Eva B on the fiction boat. And then tomorrow we have a Make Tech Good Again lineup of all these projects who will then present also live and in person, and further projects as well, which I didn't have time here to present. And then we have also an open impact pitch tomorrow, so if any of you then develop ideas, come along and present them to us. Probably maybe we'd like to support you in growing them. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have a question that they would like to ask? Any questions? Anyone? Okay.
Oh. So I think your company is about tech for good, technology for good things. Yeah. Your company is about technology for good things. There is another company in Israel. The name is Tech for Good.
Very good.
And yeah. I think you may have the similar ideas. Tech for Good in Israel is about it's an innovation accelerator. It helps high-tech startups to finance, and about 3 years they'll get finance from a company. Yeah, just for info, because nobody else is asking questions.
Thanks, you can connect me with them. I'd be happy to exchange if there's any opportunity to do something together. Perfect.
Any questions? Thoughts? All right, then everyone give a hand clap and thank you very much.
Thanks.